Oh, because I don't know, honey. Can
Hey,
she hear
Dr.
me?
Strong.
It's
How
being
are
live
you?
streamed. How do I, honey? How do I? You know what it says?
Hey, Dr. Strong. How are you? All right. Can you see me and hear me okay, Dr. Strong?
Hey, please call me Dave. Yeah, I can. I'm sorry about my. I'm not even in my house. We have a leak at our house. I'm at an Airbnb.
Oh, no.
I was scrambling to make this. I mean, it's just, oh God. We've been out of our house for like a month, and we probably got another month to be out of the house.
I get it. I moved today. If you saw how much is in my car, I literally just like got up here in just enough time to just get it set up. I was like, I don't want to reschedule again.
Oh,
so
God.
I feel you. There's nothing like when you don't feel settled and you being out of place. I'm telling you, like things you're used to having and being able to reach for. Yeah, yep. I completely get it.
How you doing?
How's Mrs. Strong though? I miss you guys.
I know. How you doing? You good?
Yeah. Good. All is well. I have my little grandbaby that's been driving me. Yeah, I tell you, 3-year-old running me ragged. Goodness. I tell you, she thinks she's the boss.
I'm sure.
But I'm loving it. All is well on my end. I'm going back into the classroom full time. I'm up in Palm Beach, so I moved further north, close to Coral Springs. So I'll be at a Slam Boca. So I'll definitely be calling on you.
Well, good. Look, I'm gonna always make myself available for you. Trust me. If it wasn't you, trust me, I wouldn't be doing this.
Aww. I really do appreciate this, and I'm looking forward to showing the kids some clips from this too on Tuesday. When I start. So it's just
I'm not even like properly dressed, but I got an EMS hat.
No, it's all right. Hey, I like that. Listen, I had to just throw on a blazer real quick because I have on my workout clothes. I was just like, I'm trying. It was rough. I know Vinny said he was having some issues with his with the computer. And I don't see my
because this is Miss Shanti. This is all on this whatever Airbnb we're at. This is all on their Wi-Fi. I hope I don't have any trouble.
I know, me too. And I'm really hoping like I get kicked out of my own Zoom. So like that's my biggest fear with her not being here. And I'm not sure this isn't like her to just not, be here. Because I was like, I have to get some help like with this. Because I mean, I've been getting put out of my own classes. I don't know what's been up with Zoom. Yeah, like it literally boots me out of the session altogether. And then I have to go back in, and I could be I'm in the middle of like a lesson, and it's just I'm gone.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
Yes, doing the best we can with this technology, right? Let me try to text Vinny one more time and see if he tried his phone. But it's really good to see you. How are the kids and everybody?
Everybody's good. I mean, my oldest is married in Orlando, and my youngest, our youngest he's about to be 24, but he's autistic, so he'll be with me until I leave this beautiful earth. But he's doing well.
Yeah. Aww. I'm glad though that you guys are all there together.
Yeah, all good.
And hopefully you'll be back home.
Yeah, you know what? It'll probably be another month or so, but yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. As my friend used to say, I'm so grateful for first world problems. That's
right. You're right.
She tried to tell me
because I can't complain too much, really.
Yeah, it's just it's inconvenient. I can tell you that much, though. It definitely is. But I try to remind myself.
Exactly. Okay. Really, I mean, I can't super complain. I have a roof over my head, so.
Right. One second. Trying to see. Hey, do you think is it possible for you to call them just to see?
Yeah.
I can if you have your device.
Yep.
So I'm trying to.
Is that Vinny right there? It says admit somebody.
I think so. Maybe he's calling in. Hey, Vinny.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good,
Hey,
good.
Vinny.
Okay, you calling in. Awesome.
Yeah, I apologize. I had my computer all set, ready to go, but I was too early. It was about 4:35, and I said, okay, I'm ready to go. At 4:50, I'll come back on the computer, and then my computer says I got to reset my password.
Oh, man.
So I've been trying to do that for the last 20 minutes, and it ain't happening, so I have to call in. Sorry.
That's all right, buddy.
Yeah. Right, we can hear you just fine.
I'll still try to see if I can get on with my computer, but I don't think it's going to let me do it tonight. So anyway, how you guys doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
All right. I'm trying to put this on airplane mode so I won't get. I'm still trying to learn how to work this iPhone thing. I'm an Android person. I'm sorry, y'all.
Are you really? Okay.
Yeah, man. This don't feel like a
It's always good to hear
smartphone.
Vinny's voice. It really is. He's such a good man.
Yes, yes, yes. It's just such a pleasure to get to talk to both of you. You know, like
So
you both are.
When are you gonna have another like in-person thing? You don't think you're gonna Zoom is sort of like taking over?
Oh no, I definitely plan to do something in person. I mean, in person. I just need the I'm gonna have to talk Vinny into coming up to Boca.
I'll meet Vinny halfway to pick him up. Trust me.
So Vinny, I signed on, so I'm gonna be taking over at the Sports Medicine Academy up here at Slam Palm Beach. They have locations up there, so I'm gonna be at the Boca.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I start Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be calling on you guys. I want to put together like some an in-person sports medicine type of I don't know, like a short of calling it a career fair, but something something along those lines in person. That I would love to have the two of you to come and speak.
Problem.
Yeah, so it's really, really close. I didn't realize like how close across the county line road the Boca is. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad from where I am now.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to it. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up our questions. I think I have it on silent mode. My my Android, I'm sorry. Like I'm used to that. My Galaxy was it's way better. I'm sorry. There's no other way I can put it. I was like, Siri just feels like she's just nosy, but I'm not getting some of the auto functions I'm used to. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play the show intro, and then we're going to get right into this.
America's health teacher and the More-1Hunnid Health Show.
Hey.
More-1Hunnid Health Show. 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 Hey.
All right. I want to welcome everybody to this special edition of the 100 Health Show. I have two of my personal goats in the building. Listen, I am so excited. This is such an exciting time. I am just delighted that these two gentlemen, Mr. Dr. Dave Strong and my personal mentor, Mr. Vinny Scavo, the reason I even have a career. I want to welcome you, gentlemen. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I wish I can see David. I know I can hear him. So
yes, my man. It's always good to hear your voice, Vinny. Always.
Thank you.
Oh man. So for those of you, if maybe you're living under a rock or something, those of you who are gonna see this when it airs the following Wednesday, which should be January the 18th, this episode will be going live. So we are going to discuss something that really rocked the nation when it comes down to, football and the NFL and Monday Night Football, like a big night in sports. And the Buffalo Bills injury that happened to a gentleman and more. So I just really hope that you guys buckle up and be ready for an exciting conversation. And so I'd like to start with you, Dave. Please, in 5 words or less, can you tell us about yourself?
Oh gosh. Oh man. Compassionate.
I think you're on mute, Dr. Strong. You're on mute.
Oh.
This is like a little trivia I play with the kids as well. It's like use 5 words to describe yourself.
Is it? You really can't
There
hear
you
me?
go.
Oh,
No,
okay.
we couldn't hear anything. There you go.
Man, I did not. I will be completely honest because I'm not in my house. I did not look at the questions, but I wanted to just be able to do it off the cuff anyway. So compassionate, caring, loving, respectful, and oh man, truthful, honest,
Genuine.
genuine. Thank you, Vinny.
I love it. I love it. All right, Mr. Vinny. That same question to you. Give us 5 words to describe you.
Passionate, dedicated, and passionate.
Yes, sir.
I'll take it. I love it. I love it. Now we see why he's the GOAT. Now we see why he's the GOAT. Listen,
Yes,
he made his own rules. Oh man, thank you guys so much for indulging me in that. But so I really want to get into it. So I'll start with you, Vinny. What's your opinion on what happened to Buffalo Bills player? I think it's pronounced Damar Hamlin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I obviously, watch it on TV. It's a scary night, and all our prayers and well wishes were there for Damar Hamlin. I know that when you watch the NFL game,
Dr. Strong, can you hear him?
Okay. Yes, I can.
I think it's me.
How about that?
We can hear you, Vinny. I can hear you, Vinny.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Vinny.
Yeah. As well?
She's frozen.
We lost her.
She said she's been having trouble.
I'm not picking up anything. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Vinny clearly. Miss Wells, I can hear you also.
How we doing?
Vinny, I can hear you.
Okay, now there you go. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I was saying, as you were watching the game and you saw what was taking place, obviously, our prayers and were there for Damar Hamlin. But one of the things that in our profession as athletic trainers and team physicians, we train for this, we prepare for this, and I knew that he was in the best hands possible. I was able to speak to Denny Kelly from the Buffalo Bills. He's a gentleman who performed the chest compressions on Damar. I spoke to him on Tuesday, and he just said, "Vin, just pray for him." And it's going to be tough. And but this is what we do. I mean, we do this time and time again to prepare. We hope that it never happens, but this is our job, and this is what we do. And so. He was in great hands and had great care.
Thank you. No, I mean, seriously, like I think about the textbooks case of things that, you read about, Vinny and Dr. Strong, but you never think that you'll ever, you know, get to maybe witness, happen in your lifetime. So I know, being an ER, physician, Dr. Strong, and definitely being a team physician and like imagining like what I guess I'm just thinking like I know that there's an in-depth concerted effort, but just being the physician that would be on the receiving end of a player coming in with this, I got to know what your take on this whole thing that happened to Mr. Hamlin with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, like Vinny said, all thoughts and prayers go to Damar Hamlin and the first responders and just everybody that contributed to his. Obviously, he essentially had we look. I was not involved in his care. Obviously, Vinny was not, but Vinny spoke with the athletic trainer. That's an immediate thing. Like a lot of people thought was that because when you look at the play, was his head involved, and did that correspond to the way to things that happened after the hit? And that would probably be a common thought, but that was clearly heart related. He stood up and then he just went down. And it's not even the intensity of the hit. It's actually it's a correlation of electrically like 1/5 of a second when your heart is beating for any projectile. Like it's typically a baseball or a hockey puck or a lacrosse ball that hits the chest at a literally like for lack of a better word or phrase, the perfect time electrically when your heart is beating for it to just stop. And it really didn't just stop. I'm sure he went into what we call ventricular fibrillation, and he needed immediate compressions where Vinny's guy from the Bills very promptly did, and then he needed to be defibrillated. And having an AED, automatic external defibrillator, very close was obviously life-saving.
Yeah, I think that people also got to see how quick like we respond and why you have to be really locked in. I think sometimes on the sidelines, people think it's all fun and games and like as if, like real work and isn't going on. And, as if like the medical staff is not like on point you have to be ready to go in a split second. Like things can change just that quick. And I think it was a spotlight was shined on the industry in some unique ways, and I'm just grateful that like they rose to the occasion, and it was it was immediate, and I'm just grateful for that. On the flip side, I just never would have like when we think about I know at least for me when I was going through school and all of the scenarios that they would give us Dr. Strong, just like you mentioned, I've never thought of seeing that in a football game. I would definitely know that the possibility is there. I would have thought baseball that this could happen if I'm covering a baseball game or hockey. Because of the type of objects and the speed at which, I mean, it's literally almost like what I would call a perfect storm for that situation to happen. I just never would have imagined it be possible in football, even though we were told that it is. I don't know if I'm being clear. Like I just would not have. And I think it was such I don't know, like I feel like it shed a light in many ways, especially when you start thinking about the contract and some of the risks that football players are taking every time they step foot. I think it was you when you came to speak to my students, when you were telling them like, in essence, what's happening each down is almost like a car crash, a small car crash, that's happening play after play, with that impact. But that play that I saw, that was a routine hit. It wasn't even like, I've seen some far more like intense, like it wasn't that, but just like what you just said with the impact, the timing of it, with the rhythm, that cycle of the heart, like it just unfortunately all collided at the most inopportune time for something like that to take place. So thank you for giving us perspective on that.
I think if I could say, Ms. Wells, I think the biggest thing as an athletic trainer, no matter what sport you work, you have to be prepared for the worst and train to be prepared for the worst, whether you work in baseball or football or basketball or whatever, lacrosse, soccer, whatever. That's our job, to make sure that we train our people, we train for those situations. We hope they never happen. We just got done. Our guys came back last week, and we met with my head football guy met with the strength staff, and we were there to just go over all the EAPs and where the AEDs are, and obviously we're in the city of Coral Gables, which actually helps us because we have such a great response time with our fire rescue people. They're right down the street from our facility. So we go over all that. I went over all that with my staff. We looked at all the AEDs, checked all the AEDs around the buildings. Every one of my athletic trainers has a yellow bag, emergency bag with them all the time that has an AED in it. So, we sometimes we just hope it's extra luggage that we're taking. We don't have to. It's there, and I think that's so important. So important.
No, absolutely. And that's why I constantly, at least even with my students, as I'm training them, I hate to have to keep quoting Will Smith on this, but he said, like, yo, if you got to stay ready. You got to get ready if you stay ready. And so I approach everything. I don't care what I'm covering. Like, I know that it's a possibility. And so I think sometimes, I don't know if technology or just the day and age we're in, I feel like sometimes people can become a bit relaxed. And I'm just grateful that the world got to see that, we're on point, we're on board, and we're ready to take action. And I'm just grateful with the response that I saw. But when I saw the hit, I don't know if you guys did, but I immediately thought heart. Immediately, the way he fell back, I immediately thought, I didn't think anything like a concussion or blacking out, all of the different scenarios people were putting out there. I just immediately, I don't know if it's just through my years of just watching the field, but I didn't suspect anything else outside of the heart, just with what I saw on the screen immediately. So, so my next question to you, Dr. Strong, why don't you see a lot of cardiac arrests or heart attacks in sports medicine? At least in my experience, I don't see heart issues a lot as far as like active players that are, on the rosters on a college level, even on a high school level, pro level. I just find that I don't see it often.
That's a great question. And to be honest with you, Vinny would probably.
I think you're on mute, Dr. Strong.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
No sound.
Vinny, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Vinny, I can hear you. I think Miss Wells, she sometimes goes in and out with hearing and because her screen is frozen now. I guess I'll just wait for her. But what I was going to say, I don't know if everybody can hear me, but Vinny, you're going to be a better individual to answer that because you are intricately involved in everything that because you're at UM, one of the leading facilities in the world. But what we do at FAU and I don't know about a lot of high schools, and Vinny, you certainly probably could attest to that because I think you deal with a lot of high school individuals. Also, we screen individuals. Obviously, you do a history, you do a physical, and we do an EKG. And if we see an abnormal EKG, they very typically get an echo, a heart ultrasound to make sure there's nothing structurally wrong with the heart. I think that the reason a lot of these things don't happen is because A, in athletics, you have a lot of healthy individuals, but B, more importantly, even with healthy individuals, there could be some things that may be missed, and we screen with history, physical EKGs. And if we have an abnormal EKG, we do an echo.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question that the screening process is so important. And in fact, we just did some physicals today for our new incoming football players, and they got their labs and EKGs done today, and our physicians read them, and we send them out to our cardiologist to double check and make sure they're okay. And sometimes we'll get one or two. We might have to do a stress echo on, but in all the years that I've been at Miami, I don't recall anyone with a cardiac issue that we've had to shut down. So we make sure that everybody gets tested and gets screened, and then we obviously you are dealing with very well-conditioned athletes, and they become very well-conditioned athletes while they come into your program, because our strength staff, puts them in a very rigorous training program that really gets them stronger and faster.
Mhm.
So we oversee that and make sure that that's all being taken care of the right way. I do have a concern, obviously, with some of the high schools and some of the lower levels, whether people are being screened or not. And I think that's something that, needs to be discussed in time to make sure that anyone who plays sports gets a EKG and gets screened before they participate in competition.
Exactly. I guess maybe
I couldn't agree with you more.
Okay,
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm getting feedback. Come on.
Is it feedback if you guys hear me now?
no
Yeah.
feedback.
Okay,
I hear you.
perfect. Okay. Not sure what's happening with the laptop, but I could not hear any sound coming from you all. So I used my device to do it, and I'm not able to speak on it now because it's giving me some feedback. So anywho, but yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly when you talk about when it comes down to the young people, specifically in high school with the screenings. I think that EKGs, I really would love to see us move beyond just only the physicals, and, especially at least for, contact sports. I think, we definitely, I wish, I would love to see it happen more, those kind of screenings.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So this question is to you, Vinny, and then to you as well, Dr. Strong. Do you think DeMar's injury will change sports medicine, like going forward? Do you think there'll be some changes that come about as a result of this?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think what has been instituted and takes place with athletic training and sports medicine, I think we they get obviously in the NFL, they get all different types of screenings, and they're seen by everyone before they go back on the field. So I don't know if it will change. I know that if you watch the athletic trainers and the physicians, the next week after that happened, I was at the Dolphin Jet game, and there was an injury on the field, and everybody came out on the field. And I think that's the next thing that you just might see, is that instead of the team physician and the athletic trainers going out, you might see all the physicians and all the trainers out in case there is an emergency situation. Everybody's there to do their part. So I don't see it changing. I mean, Dave might know more from the medical standpoint, but I don't think what we do and how we do it is going to change, because I think that's what we do to make sure that we take care of them.
Awesome, Dave. I
I'll
have
just
the
chime
same
in.
question to you.
I think what Vinny says, like what he always says, is golden. He's absolutely right. I don't think anything will change. If anything changes, it's exactly what Vinny alluded to. He was at the Dolphins Jets game, and someone got injured and everybody went out there. I think that probably will change, at least in the short term. And then exactly what Vinny and UM did. They got all of their staff. They talked about it. They made sure people were BLS certified, ACLS certified, and individuals know how to do chest compressions, know how to work that AED, what Vinny was talking about, which defibrillated Mr. Hamlin. And so the preparation may change, and that'd be a major, obviously it is in the forefront of what everybody saw and what we are thinking about now. So that people are certainly on high alert. Like Vinny was saying, with the physicians and the trainers, everybody went out when that one individual got hurt, whoever he was talking about. Your heightness, meaning it'll be in your forefront of your mind. Okay, I have to at least think about it. But as far as what we do right now, I don't think, because we, like Vinny said, we have already tried to screen as much as we possibly can. The level that has not had a lot of screening has been the high school level. So, but other than that, we do enough, I think. I mean, besides getting everyone a BLS and ACLS certified, these kids get, like I said, documented histories, physicals, and EKGs. And then if there's an abnormality, they get other screening like a stress echo. So.
And I think, like, we're very fortunate. Like I said, I'm very fortunate being in the city of Coral Gables, and also on Saturday, but when we have our home football games, to be in Miami-Dade County, because we have a great group of fire rescue people at Hard Rock Stadium. We meet with those guys before the game. We get to know those guys during the year. We all kind of know each other, feel each other out, and they kind of watch each other on the sideline to see what our next move is, and everybody works well together. And then the same thing at home. I mean, there's times just during our practices, and that the fire rescue guys at Coral Gables, they just come and hang out and watch the practice, because they're right there in the area. So as an athletic trainer, you feel pretty good that if we do have to push the red button, we got the right people. We got the right people around us to help us.
Absolutely. I did get a question. I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when the fire rescue truck used to be on the field, and someone asked like what happened to the truck being on the field during football games. I know early on, I want to say back in 2002, 2003, I used to remember I've covered games where it used to be on the field, and someone asked, and I said, I'm pretty sure it's now like it's on the premises close by, but not like sitting on the football field anymore.
Well, and all honesty, I think they should. I think in high school football games, there should be a fire rescue truck at every game. I mean, you have physicians, you have athletic trainers, but I think you should have a fire rescue truck at all high school games. We do in all our events: baseball, football, basketball. We have it all. We do not have it for soccer. We do have a quick response time. We're still in the process of talking about that. But I just went to the women's basketball game today, and I parked right next to the fire rescue truck in Coral Gables. They're at our games, and so I think it's from other levels besides the professional levels and the college level. They should look at that, and I think from an athletic training standpoint, to have that there, I think it's just a great thing for in case of an emergency, to be right there.
I couldn't agree with you more. I concur. Dr. Strong, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add after speaking after Vinny, because Vinny takes all of the shine because he's so knowledgeable. But he's absolutely right. I think they should be. Now, probably has a little bit more resources than other universities. FAU does not have a fire. We certainly have it at the football games. At the basketball games, we do not. Now, are they close proximity? Yes, there's one right around the corner, but not at every basketball game, men's and women, because I'm the lead physician for the men's and women's basketball team. Now, there's an AED there, and I'm there, and I'm an emergency physician. But I agree with Vinny. They should be there at every venue, to be honest with you. Obviously, resources limits what you can and cannot do with respect to having individuals there, but it would certainly be helpful.
Absolutely.
The first person that's going to attend to the athlete when the athlete is down is going to be an athletic trainer.
Yep.
That is how I actually answer the question as to what we do. I'm like, I don't know. I still sometimes get bothered when people confuse us with personal trainers. I was like, when you see an injury on a field or in a game, I was like, that person that's running out there, I was like, most of those people are athletic trainers. And I was like, one of them is going to be the physician, the team physician, but that's what we do, care and prevention of athletic injuries. So yeah, we're the ones that are out there on the field, we're not just hanging out on the sidelines watching a game, I think sometimes people think that those are only physicians out on the field when, most organizations don't have even enough in their budget to afford a whole slew of physicians. I was like, and that's one of the beauty that I feel like of our profession is that because of that one time we get with the physicians, I feel like the team physicians empower us and then pour into us. And I've learned a lot in my experience just by being in that proximity with team physicians. I think it's very, very helpful. And I think it's strengthened the industry overall?
I've always had the greatest respect for high school athletic trainers. You know, I was one for a long time, but when you have an injury on the field at a high school game, you usually see one athletic trainer going out there on the field, and they got nobody running behind them. I'm very lucky at the University of Miami where I have 2 or 3 other staff members coming out with me, and I got my team physician, Lee Captain, who comes out with me, and you know, we have an anesthesiologist on the sideline in case we have to open up an airway. I got fire rescue. Yeah, I got fire rescue staying right there. So, you know, the high school athletic trainer, you know, they're so important to their program, so important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. All right, now I got to get on to our next question. So, this is called Meeting Your Waterloo. That's the section that I called it. I won't even play my little intro for that. I think we all know, or at least have heard back in the day of, you know, the Battle of Waterloo. So can Dr. Strong, can you tell us of like one of your most challenging times, like in sports medicine, and how you overcame it, like maybe an injury or something that happened that was, you know, like it memorable or tough or challenging to deal with or treat?
One of the most challenging injuries I had was a neck injury when FAU played North Texas. And the kid ended up being fine, but when you have someone laid out, look, I'm an emergency physician, so my mind is always on the go. Like you alluded to, Ms. Wells, and Vinny alluded to it. You're not just on the sidelines watching a game. I mean, you're constantly thinking that what happened to Mr. Hamlin can happen. So my mind is always racing. And this kid got hit. And to make a long story short, he was boarded and taken to a facility and had a CAT scan, and his neck was fine. But initially, he had a stinger, if you will, where he was not moving anything. And then as time went on, he started moving everything. But that's being an emergency physician, you see a lot. And I trained in Detroit, so I've seen a lot of bad stuff. But when you're like Vinny was talking about, that high school athletic trainer, they're the only ones that's out there. When you're out there, no matter who's with you, everyone is looking at you like everyone was looking at that high school trainer if there's an injury. So you got to be ready, and it's tough because at that time I don't have a lot of, you know, I don't have an MRI right next to me or a CAT scan right next to me. So you really got to use your clinical skills to make sure A, this individual's fine, and B, disposition them, meaning they need to get to the emergency department to get studied. So it can be challenging, and you just have to be ready.
Absolutely.
I think I look at it 2 ways. I mean, I think that, you know, I'm challenged, you know, every day to either get someone off the field or get someone on the field. And so I think the challenge of getting someone on the field is when you go out there and you have someone who's injured, the question is, can you get them back? Can you get them back on the field to finish the game, and can you get them back safely? I think that's the biggest thing. You know, someone gets, you know, kid gets hurt, and you know, you administer them on the field, you evaluate, you take them to the tent, check them out, and hopefully what you try to do is, all right, can we get him back on the field? And if we can, we will. If we can't, then we can't. The question is, you know, when you get somebody off the field. We had a situation in the Orange Bowl in 2018. We were playing Wisconsin, and we had one of our players who was going down on special teams, and it didn't look like it was a real crazy hit. He went helmet to helmet with the opposing player, and one of my assistants said to me, "Hey, you better go check him out." And I won't say the player's name, you know, for his respect, but you know, you better go check him out. It looks like he went head to head. And so I went up to the player, and I said to him, "How you doing?" He goes, "I'm okay, Vin. I'm okay." Luckily, there was a TV timeout because he had to go back on defense because he was on special teams, and then he was in the secondary to go back on defense. And we had a couple of minutes because of a TV timeout. And I looked at him and I said, "You sure you're okay?" And he says, "I'm fine." And I was going to get ready to put him back in the game. And the good Lord, someone grabbed my hand and said, "Grab him by the shoulder and pull him back." And I pulled him back and I said, "Does your neck hurt?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a little sore." I go, "That's it, you're done." And, you know, we pulled him off the field, and we got some x-rays. We did put him in a neck collar, and then the next day took an MRI. and he had a fracture C1, C2, and if we would have put him back in the game, it could have been fatal. And I never forget when I was with the dad and our pastor and one of our coaches went to go see our spine specialist. The first thing the dad said to the physician, he said, "What would have my son back in the game?" And he said, it could have been fatal. And the dad turned around, looked at me and said, "Thank you." And that was enough for me. But, something just said, my gut just said, pull him out of the game. We pulled him. And we would put that young man back in the game. It could have been a very, very dangerous situation. So, sometimes you don't know when. You got to make sure you know when to put him back and know when to take him out. So that's the challenge.
No, absolutely. I'm with you on that. As far as for me, I would say, this was early on in my career. I want to say it was like 2004. I was covering, it was a semi-pro like football game. When I tell you it was raining cats and dogs, it was like Armageddon. And my center went down, had a concussion. And the ball was turned over that happened to be turned over that play. So after I get him off the field and, dealing with that, the next play, the linebacker has an elbow dislocation. And I mean, I'm talking about it is broken through the skin. Like, this was just like, it felt like one of those days. I felt like the little Charlie Brown character, the one that had the cloud that follows him. I mean, and then there was another, I want to say, it was definitely another leg injury. I'm by myself. This is very early in the game. The team physician hadn't, usually there's like a team physician that comes and covers. There'll be one that they, assign. He hadn't gotten there yet. So I was literally alone. And when I tell you, I literally had to go back and think about had a college professor named Professor Lloyd. He used to do these crazy drills with us with just a whole lot of chaos like going on and really going through the whole triage situation of how you prioritize who you're going to when you're alone, like who's going to get your attention and what you're going to do. And that, honestly, that was probably the most challenging game and most challenging response that I've ever had, encountered, because like I said, I had poor visibility. I mean, it was raining really, really hard and completely just muddy until I split my shoes and everything. It was that saturated out there. But thankfully, fire rescue was on the field at that time, at that game. So I was able to get the elbow dislocation, transported. But that was rough. That was, I think, honestly, I asked myself after that experience if I wanted to continue, being an athletic trainer, because that was just, so I was like, why did this happen to me? I mean, I want to say we may have been 3-4 minutes into the game. It wasn't like a long time into the first quarter. So that was my most challenging experience that I've ever had. So, and especially when you know that these people have families, like they're connected in a web of relationships. They're not just, someone that you're going to see one time for the most part when you're in sports medicine. So thank you guys for answering that. All right, I want to move on. So because I will be showing this to my students, and because the replays are often watched by middle school and high school students, because we're 6 through 12, what message would you give like 12-year-old you about your health? Like, what is something, if you can go back in time and you're talking to 12-year-old you or a 12-year-old, one moment, let me mute everyone. What message would you give 12-year-old you? Dr. Strong?
Man, that's man, that's tough. I think as a 12-year-old, the only thing I wanted to do was go play football, basketball, and try to do well in school and have fun. I think from a health standpoint, I don't know if I was ever thinking about health, because the only thing you thought about is what Vinny was talking about when he had to make a decision about putting somebody back in the game. You look, if you do get injured, you're like, man, can I play? Am I hurt or am I injured? If I'm hurt, I can play. If I'm injured, I can't. So I think that the message I would give myself is continue to do what I was doing, which was always try to do well in school and play as much sports as I possibly can, because I wouldn't be where I am today without basketball. I can tell you that now. And I know I didn't play professional. Yep. I played in college, Division III. I actually played at the same school that my very good friend and Lee's very good friend, Lee Kaplan, went to. And Lee played football, I played basketball, but I wouldn't be where I am. So my message would be continue to do what you're doing, which is study hard and play sports in that order.
I like that. I like that message. I think they're going to appreciate hearing that from you, Dr. Strong. What about you, Vinny? Same question.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I mean, things at the high school level as kids get to the college level. I mean, it's such changing from the last 10 years of how we do things today. And now you have high school games on television that you didn't have years ago. And I remember when I was in high school back in the day, when they put our game on Saturday, it was like the greatest thing in the world. Now every time you turn on TV, there's a high school game on. There's even below high school games on TV. And so, you just gotta, let the kids understand that. Just enjoy yourself, have fun, play as much as you can, as long as you can. You're right. You got to get an education, because, when the time comes that you can't play anymore, you got to back it up with your education. But make sure that you just enjoy yourself and play hard. Listen to the people around you that are coaching you and supporting you. And I think that's so important.
I like that. I like that advice, the words of wisdom. All right. Now, so my next question to you both is, are there any books or mentors that helped you win along your journey?
Wow. It's funny. I was cleaning my office out during the holidays, and I pulled the book out, and it was the concepts of athletic training. When I first started, I graduated high school. I got a small baseball scholarship at St. Francis in Brooklyn. And I went to school there in the fall, and I remember going up to the library, and I don't know, just wanted to get an interest in athletic training. I was looking for books in athletic training, and the book was Fundamentals of Athletic Training, taping. And I have the book to this day. I think the library is looking for me. I think they have an APB out for me. Because it's been 1979 I actually took. So I don't know what the return on that is, but that's the book that I read cover to cover, and I started working around my high school and doing things. That's that fall semester that I was playing fall baseball at the school, and then of course I transferred to Florida, to the state of Florida, and went to a junior college in Florida State, and the rest is history for me. But that's the first book. I took that book out and I was showing my staff, and I said, here's the book. This is the book that I learned it all from. And of course, I was very fortunate to learn under a gentleman by the name of Don Falls when I was at Florida State. And I always tell the story. And on May 4th, I'm going to be inducted into the University of Miami Sports Hall of Fame. And so it's people like Don Falls and Ron Frazier and Dick Hauser and Mike O'Shea and Kevin O'Neill, people in my career that helped me, get to this. But when I interviewed with my job at Florida State, I had a mustache, and one of the athletic trainers told me as I was waiting to meet with Don Falls, doctor, we're not allowed to have facial hair. And again, this is 1979, so you listened, right? And so I said, oh, what do I do? So I went into the bathroom and shaved my mustache off. And when I met with Don Falls, I was kind of bleeding from the lip, and he says, are you doing okay? I says, he says, you're bleeding. I says, well, you don't like mustaches or facial hair, so I shaved my mustache because I want to work for you. And he says, when do you start? So, that man took me under his wing and was a godsend to me and got me into this career. And here I am almost 40 years later.
Absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that. And when you mentioned the principles of athletic training, I'm like, I still have mine. It was something that it still up to this day, like I think they still tell you to make sure you keep that book. I almost feel like they should have given us this instead of towards the end. It should have been towards the beginning, because there's just so much wisdom and gold. And that's why I keep this book handy for myself, as well, even with being out of school now. I graduated. Yeah, 2001. So now I'm 20 years out now, Benny.
Wow, good for you. Good for you.
20 years. May will make 21. Yeah, 2001. Well, I got licensed in 2002. So April this year will make 20 years since I got licensed. So super excited. What about you, Dr. Strong? Same question to you. Any books or mentors that helped you along this journey?
Now, you know what? First of all, congratulations to you on your 20 years. Congratulations to Vinny on about to be inducted into that Hall of Fame. That's amazing. And I couldn't think of two more well-deserving individuals. I don't have, a story like Vinny's, because my story, look, I'm from the inner city in East Cleveland, Ohio. And as an 8th grader, I myself wanted to read Malcolm X. And I read the book Malcolm X, and that sort of projected me to know what I was going to be dealing with whatever field I chose to go into, but B, more importantly, it talked about perseverance. And that's one of the cardinal principles of my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi. And it just taught me how to be a man as an 8th grader. And that's what projected me. And one of my mentors is somebody I don't even work with every day. It's actually Lee Kaplan, who Vinny works with every day. I went to college with him. It's not often that you see an inner city Black kid get very close with a Jewish guy that I had no connection to at all. Me and Lee, he was a year ahead of me. He was I'm in a Black fraternity. He's in another fraternity. And, but we got to be super close. And a lot of what I do, I bounce off of him to this day. And, he's always been refreshing to me. He's always been very open to me. And I think he's one of the best orthopedic surgeons in the world. And I'm not an orthopedic surgeon, but just about what he has accomplished himself and what he has to deal with every day, he's my inspiration. And that's the honest to God truth. But if you want to refer to a book, for me, it was Malcolm X as an 8th grader.
Oh, man.
Well, I can say ditto, Dave, on Lee Kaplan, because I've been with Lee since 1996, and I couldn't be happy to be with a better person. And I always tell this to my staff, and when the, I don't want to use a bad word, so I'm not, when the ditto hits the fan,
yep,
Lee Kaplan will be right there for you. And
exactly.
I've had some situations in the training room where we've had some bad situations, and the first person right there next to me was, "You got it, you're okay." It was Lee Kaplan. So, that's we're very fortunate, both of us very fortunate to have him in our life.
100%.
Wow, I love hearing that. And I've only heard great things about that. Those of you who are listening live, I would love for you to drop in the chat a book that's changed your life. For me, as far as books go, Think and Grow Rich has been that one book that, when I say, like, at my lowest points and when I was ready to just throw in the towel on businand career and family, life, everything, this is a book that I have just read and reread over and over. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And honestly, like, Vinny, I'd have to say, when I think about, especially with this industry, it's been you. You opened so many doors. You've shown what's possible, not to mention just even with like curriculum, writing curriculum and doing the things that you've done. I mean, anyone to get voted the, the like athletic trainer of the year out of all of the states. And you think about how big this country is, when you think about all of the trainers that are out there. I mean, it's been you. You were that gold standard. at least when I was in school, that we looked to. And that's the only reason why I even entered high school, because high school was always, I was like, nope, not doing it. Until when I saw that which that was such a bold move. I know, like, as far as family, and you were raising a family as well. And, when you're working on a pro level and other levels, it can be a bit more demanding and not as friendly to a family. And so when I got the opportunity to sit at your feet, that was just, I couldn't pass that up, So you definitely have been that person for me. And my other mentor, I would say, that introduced me to that book was Yolanda English, who I lost right when the pandemic, hit. But I can honestly say you guys have been the mentors that I've definitely needed along this journey. And this book, Think and Grow Rich, and my Principles of Athletic Training, and my Therapeutic Modalities book, I've kept that. That has really helped me, along the way, no matter how old I get. And I'm grateful that I kept my, sports medicine library. My professors weren't wrong in that. That you definitely want to make sure you have some books that you can reference, going back. So, all right. So I want to go to our next question as we wind this thing on down. So, today is Dr. King's birthday. Shout out to the greatest orator of all time, Dr. Martin Luther King. So is there a quote? Is there when do you feel like you transitioned from dreaming like about a career or dreaming about doing something into actually like achieving? Like, when did you move from the dreaming stage or maybe goal setting stage or talking about, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that, to actually, putting in some action and doing it? Dr. Strong?
I guess it would be when I was at college, my first year. I went in with under the curriculum of chemical engineering, and I still graduated from Hopkins with a chemical engineering degree. But coming from where I came from, I wanted to do a lot of things, meaning I wanted to get my mom out of the inner city. I wanted to marry an inner city individual and move them out of the inner city. And to make a long story short, I didn't feel I could do that with an engineering degree. And I'm not putting down engineering. I just thought my reach and my trajectory would be a lot more helpful, if you will, if I got into pre-med. And Lee, again, was one of the individuals that sort of changed my thinking towards that. And going to Hopkins, it's a pretty good school with respect to pre-med. And I just told myself, I was too far in the chemical engineering curriculum to give it up. But some of those same classes applied to me being a pre-medical student. And when I finally told myself after the second year of playing basketball that I wanted to be a physician, my plan was to take a fifth year, which I did at Hopkins. I graduated with chemical engineering and natural sciences, but it got me into medical school. So I would say my moment, if you will, was making the mental note that I wanted to be a physician and not a chemical engineer. And I changed after my second year at Hopkins. And, I am where I am today because of that.
I love that answer. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, that has me excited. Vinny, what about you? Same question. When did you move out of the whole dreaming aspect of it and into the action and doing it?
I think in all the years that I worked at the high school level, I always dreamed about one day being the head athletic trainer at the University of Miami. So everything that I did as a high school athletic trainer, I prepared myself that if I ever got the opportunity, and when I did get the opportunity, it was something I felt that I dreamt that this was going to be my time and worked for it. And so I basically that was it. I mean, I really never done anything else since 1979 when I decided to get into this profession. This is what I've been. I've never done anything else, But I think as a kid, I did a lot of things. I worked a lot. My parents always had me working, doing something. I think that work ethic and the dream of one day I wanted to be successful and be around successful people. and be around successful programs. And I think it was all that time as a kid, as a teenager, you know, delivering newspapers and working in restaurants and working in stores and always working and trying to do things. You know, you dream that one day I want to just, you know, do something, dream of doing something good. And here I am.
I love that. So for me, I knew, like, I really was all in. It was my final year in the, you know, athletic training program. And my daughter's on this call right now, and she's, you know, young. And, you know, I, you know, was a young mom, and I didn't have anyone to watch her. And if anyone knows, like, how it's not like you got a lot of grades. And so if you don't take the final, you're done. Like, you don't pass that class. And so I know I wasn't allowed to, you know, to bring a kid into my final exam, but, you know, I was all in. I was like, I didn't come this far to just, you know, say like, oh, well, I'm just going to take an L or F. I'm just going to chance it. And so I put her in that stroller. I rolled her in there, Dr. Strong and Vinny. And I was like, I'm taking this exam, or I'm going to do as much as I can. You know, the professor pulled me to the side and said, like, hey, if she starts to cry or anything, you know, I'm going to have to, you know, ask you to leave. And I said, okay, fair enough. And so it was just me moving out of, I just knew I wanted this. I heard Dr. Eric Thomas said, like, when you want something so bad, like badder, more than you want to breathe. Like, I knew I wanted to finish this program. I knew I wanted to graduate college. I knew this would be the thing that could change our life. And I knew, like, I was right there at the finish line. It was my final course. And, you know, it's not like you could sit for your board exams if I didn't take, you know, the seminar class. I think it was AT4 or AT5. No, it was AT5 at FIU. It was the final course in our program. And I just refused. I just couldn't see any other alternative, even though I knew I was not supposed to bring her to class with me. But my back was against the wall. And I moved from that whole thought of, oh, I want this, and thinking this, and I'm like, I'm doing this. Like, I gotta get this exam done. I have to finish. And you know what? Lo and behold, hey, I made it. So that was when I transitioned from the dreaming stage to the actual doing, you know, an achieving stage. When that was back in 2001, I want to say, or no, 2000. All right. So I call this segment Boom Shakalaka. All right. So are there any, is there a charity or organization or cause that you'd like to give a boom shakalaka to, a boom shakalaka? Dr. Strong?
Look, I went to Johns Hopkins. I went to University of Cincinnati College of Medicine. I donate every year to any minority cause. So those are all my boom shakalakas, to any minority cause, because they're so underrepresented. So.
I love that. All right. Vinny, any cause or organization you want to give a boom shakalaka to?
Yeah, I want to give it out to Tunnel to Towers with Stephen Stiller, who was a New York firefighter who died in 9/11, and his family, George Stiller and his family put together the Tunnel to Towers, and they're doing right now. What they do is they have mortgage-free homes for Gold Star recipients that are military, first responders that are unable to do so, and so it's a great organization.
Oh, I love that. You said Tunnels for Towers. I wanted to drop it in the chat because I do
Towers,
save the chat.
Tunnels to Towers. Stephen Stiller was a New York City firefighter who ran through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to get to the World Trade Center, and him and his whole, as with a bunch of others unfortunate some friends of mine who died in 9/11, and his family put together. They started with a race through the Battery Tunnel, and then it became much bigger and bigger. And now it's such a large organization where they give mortgage-free homes to Gold Star recipients who have lost families, who have lost first responders and our military. And so they're a great group of people.
Sounds like it. It absolutely sounds like it. Thank you guys both. And so in the spirit of, Dr. King was about service. And I think that this is my second favorite holiday, MLK Day, because it is one that's given towards volunteerism and, serving the community. And that's why I say happy MLK Day of service. And so for me, every year during the holidays, I do a program called Books in the Hood. And so I want to give a boom shakalaka to Books in the Hood Initiative and everyone who partnered with me to make this thing happen. We exceeded our goal. We put 1,280 books in the hood this year. And so I want to top that this year. Our goal will be 1,500. So I'm super excited. So I want to give a boom shakalaka to Books in the Hood. And so I want to, before I ask you guys our final question here, I want to give anyone, if you have a question, now would be the time. If you want to ask my guests a question, or you can drop it in the chat, now would be the time. Are there any questions? All right, so I will move on to our next question, which is, do you have any closing thoughts for us, or any homework assignments, or something that you'd like to, to leave us with, and no particular order? Dr. Strong, or Vinny?
The only thing I would say is what I try to say every time I talk at the Ambassador Day, which I'm very happy to do every year because it's such a great thing where Vinny and Dr. Kaplan and the sports medicine community down at get a lot of individuals together to speak on their why and everything, and how, sort of like what you're doing, Ms. Wells, on how you got to where you are. When you look in the mirror, just be very comfortable with what looks back at you, and that implies everything. Social service, like you said, being honest, being compassionate, being very understanding, and trying to get to where you need to go. It just takes a lot of hard work, and you got to be comfortable with what's looking back at you when you look in the mirror. And if you can do that and you give it your best, you may not always succeed, but don't ever be afraid to fail.
Absolutely. I love that. Vinny, same question to you. Any closing thoughts or a homework assignment that you want to give us?
I think the biggest, as my dog is barking here in my office, I think the biggest thing is really look at the people who you really, look up to and appreciate, who helping you along the way, and really just, cherish that time, those times with those people who have helped you. I'm always mentioning, all the time, the people who got me where I am today, because I think it's so important. I mean, I don't think we can just get where we are successfully without having help. And I think it's so important that we look at the people, around us who have helped us, whether it's, a mentor, a parent, whoever, a coach, anyone, who has helped us. I think it's important to know those people, keep those people around you, and always let those people know that, that they helped you where you are.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. So because this is Dr. King's birthday, do you guys have a quote, Dr. King quote that you like, or, that you'd like to share with us? Maybe one of your favorite ones by him, or one of the speeches that you heard from him. Mine is Life's Blueprint. That's one of my favorite speeches I've had the opportunity to listen to by Dr. King. Dr. Strong, do you have a quote or a speech that you enjoyed by Dr. King?
I have a dream.
Yeah. Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. What about you, Vinny?
I agree. And tomorrow, Sherelle Jackson, who runs our SAC program at the University of Miami, tomorrow I'll be one of about maybe 15 to 20 athletic employees. We're going to take a tour tomorrow around all the African American areas in Miami. We're going to go to Overtown. We're going to go to Liberty City. We're going to go to the Grove. We're going to go to all the different places.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to tour them tomorrow in honor of Dr. King and meet the dignitaries of those areas and tour those areas and just learn about learn about that and the African American culture. And I think I'm very excited about we're gonna do that tomorrow between 9:30 and 2:30. And so I'm excited to go on that tour tomorrow. And actually, I've been in Miami a long time, but I've never been to a lot of different things. And I deal with a lot of African American athletes and staff. And it'd be great to see the history, and learn the history.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm excited for that tour for you. Okay, so I'd love to leave you guys with this quote by Dr. King. It's from his speech, Life's Blueprint. And it says, always know that you count, always know that you matter, and always feel that your life has ultimate significance, because it does. And this is a speech that he crafted and shared with young people. And it's called Life's Blueprint. So I highly, highly recommend, if you get a chance. I know some people probably are tired of hearing me recommending this speech, but to me, it's one of his most profound speeches, because it applies to everything. Like, he's talking about your life's blueprint. And to be speaking to junior high school kids, and yes, you middle schoolers. I went to junior high school, and I'm sure Dr. Strong and Vinny did too. We didn't have a middle school when I was back in the day when I went to school. So he was talking to Dr. King was talking to junior high school students with that life's blueprint. So I love to end the segment with what I call a health fantasy segment. So I like to ask everyone, like, what's a one day, how people do a New Year's resolution. So I asked, like, what's your new health day resolution? Just like a one, just for tomorrow. So it could be, maybe you're going to have more water, or maybe you're going to exercise, or maybe you're going to get to sleep, or take a certain, ingredient, or whatever it is. But I need a health fantasy. So what's a one day health resolution that you will do tomorrow? So I would love to see some answers in the chat, or you guys can unmute, but I'd like to start with you, Vinny or Dr. Strong. What's a one day health resolution?
2022 was a little challenging for me health-wise. So in 2023, I have taken upon myself to make sure that I have take care of myself healthy since the new year, but even before I started taking care of myself, and I've lost a significant amount of weight, which I think has helped me in my health issues. And so I try to work out every day, or do something every day, and be active, watch what I eat, and just take care of myself. I think it's so important as you get older that you have to start doing that.
I love it. I love that answer. Dr. Strong, what's a one day health resolution you have?
Congratulations to Vinny. Congratulations to Vinny. I love to hear him being healthy, because I want him to be around as long as he possibly can, because he's just a good human, really. The only thing I would say is I would expand on what Vinny said. In the last 6 months, I've lost 32 pounds. So I'm going to continue doing that by walking. I walk 6 miles a day.
Basketball game weight ready, baby. You're getting back to that basketball game weight.
Yeah, so I'm just going to continue. I walk 6 miles a day. I get my heart rate into the 130s when I walk. So I briskly walk, and I'm going to continue doing that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Man, and so my resolution for tomorrow was to make sure that tonight I want to get enough sleep. And so my sweet spot is 7.2. So 7 7 hours and 20 minutes. I want to make sure I get my minimum of what I need, which is 7 hours and 20 minutes for me specifically. So that's my improving my sleep quality. That's my resolution for tomorrow. Congratulations to both of you on this weight loss. I'm feeling like Ric Flair right now. Woo! Awesome. Anyone else? Now's the time. Miss Katrina, Shanti, Joelle, do you guys have a one-day health resolution before we exit this show? We've taken up enough of their time. Anyone else have a one-day health resolution?
Well, this is Katrina, not a one-day health resolution. Just basically a healthier lifestyle change is my focus for 2023. When you start getting a little older, you start seeing other things happening around you. We tend to take our health for a joke sometimes because we really don't know what all goes into being healthy, because we have these things that is these traditions that is passed down to us, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that we just have to be a little bit more mindful of healthier choices in being able to be around. My thing is, I don't want my children to have to care for me when it's because of me. That's not fair to them. So that's why for me, 2023 is really about getting focused on a healthier lifestyle so that I can be around longer and be here for not only my children, but my grandchildren. So that's my resolution.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Is there any other parting words that you all would like to say, Dr. Strong or Vinny, before we let the people go?
Keep working hard.
All right, I like that. You matter. I just want everyone to understand that you matter. Your life matters, and your health is your business. I will continue to say that, and I believe that till the day I take my final breath. Our lifelong business is our health. Our health is our one true lifelong business, and we can win. We will win. We must win in our health, and I want us all to just take those small steps, great distances, as Dr. Eric Thomas says. So, final call. If there was a question, now is the time. All right. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to end the session in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Have a great day, you guys. Thank you all for this show today.
A great holiday tomorrow, and thank you for everything. See you soon.
Thank you. Happy MLK Day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.